Imagine stepping outside, into air so cold it burns your lungs with every breath. The ground is frozen solid, for as far as the eye can see, giant sheets of ice, taller than any building you have ever seen, stretch across entire continents. There is no heater, no warm coat from a store, no grocery store at all. Just you, your family, and a world that seems determined to kill you. And yet, against all odds, humans survived. Not just survived, we thrived. We spread across the planet, and we came out the other side, stronger than ever. So today we ask one of the most incredible survival questions in our entire history. How did ancient humans survive the Ice Age? Welcome back, explorers of the ancient world. Today we are stepping into one of the harshest chapters of human history, a time when the planet itself seemed to turn against us. Roughly 110,000 years ago, Earth entered a brutal period of extreme cold, now known as the Last Glacial Period. Massive ice sheets, sometimes over 2 miles thick, crept down across North America, Europe, and Asia, transforming lush landscapes into frozen wastelands. Global temperatures plunged, sea levels dropped dramatically as water froze into towering glaciers. Entire ecosystems shifted, collapsed, or vanished completely. For countless species, this brutal, drawn-out winter meant extinction. Woolly mammoths, giant sloths, and saber-toothed cats would eventually disappear forever. But somehow, against staggering odds, our small, fragile, relatively hairless species did not just survive. We adapted, innovated, and ultimately conquered the Ice Age entirely. So how exactly did we pull off one of the greatest survival stories in the history of life on Earth? Let's find out. Just how cold was the Ice Age, really? To understand this incredible survival story, we first need to understand exactly what our ancestors were up against. During the coldest points of the Ice Age, global temperatures dropped by an estimated 6 to 10 degrees Celsius compared to today. That might not sound like much, but on a planetary scale, it was utterly transformative. Entire regions of Europe and North America were buried beneath massive ice sheets. Winters in many areas lasted far longer, with brutal, bone-chilling winds sweeping across open, treeless plains known as Mammoth Steppe. For early humans, migrating out of the relatively warm climate of Africa, this was an alien, hostile new world, one that demanded rapid, radical adaptation, or extinction. Clothing, humanity's first wearable technology. Here is something remarkable to consider. Humans are not naturally built for extreme cold. Unlike woolly mammoths or Arctic foxes, we lack thick natural fur. So how did we survive sub-zero temperatures? The answer lies in one of our greatest early inventions, clothing. Archaeological evidence suggests early humans were creating tailored fitted clothing, not just simple draped furs, by at least 75,000 years ago. Bone needles discovered at sites across Europe and Asia reveal that ancient humans were sewing animal hides into snug, insulated garments. This was not casual craftsmanship. Properly fitted clothing, capable of trapping body heat while allowing freedom of movement, likely made the difference between life and death in the brutal Ice Age cold. In many ways, that humble bone needle may be one of the most underrated inventions in human history. Fire, the ultimate survival tool. If clothing was humanity's first defense against the cold, fire was our greatest weapon. Controlled fire allowed Ice Age humans to warm freezing shelters, cook food to release more nutrients and calories, and provide crucial protection from predators prowling the frozen darkness. Archaeological sites across Europe reveal deep hearths, carefully maintained over long periods, sometimes located deep inside caves to maximize shelter from the brutal wind. Fire likely also played a massive role in human social bonding, providing warmth and light for communities to gather, share food, tell stories, and strengthen the relationships crucial for surviving such an unforgiving world together. Without fire, it is unlikely humans could have survived the Ice Age climate at all. Shelter, building homes from mammoth bones. With few trees available on the frozen, wind-swept Mammoth Steppe, ancient humans became remarkably resourceful when it came to shelter. In parts of Ukraine and Russia, archaeologists have discovered extraordinary ancient dwellings, built using the bones and tusks of woolly mammoths, sometimes using the remains of dozens of animals in a single structure. These bone huts, likely covered with animal hides for additional insulation, provided crucial protection from freezing winds and heavy snowfall. This tells us something remarkable about ancient human ingenuity. When nature failed to provide the materials we needed, we didn't give up. We adapted, engineered, and built solutions using whatever resources were available. Hunting the giants of the Ice Age. Survival during the Ice Age required incredible amounts of energy, meaning ancient humans needed reliable, high-calorie food sources. This led to one of the most dangerous relationships in human history, hunting massive Ice Age megafauna, including woolly mammoths, giant bison, and woolly rhinoceroses. These were not small, simple hunts. Bringing down a mammoth weighing several tons, required careful group coordination, sophisticated weapons like spear throwers, and enormous courage. A single successful mammoth hunt could provide a community with an enormous supply of meat, fat, bone, and hide, resources that could mean survival through weeks, or even months, of brutal winter conditions. The relationship between early humans and these massive animals was so significant that many researchers believe intensive hunting may have even contributed to the eventual extinction of several Ice Age giants. Migration. Following the resources, as the climate shifted dramatically, early humans could not simply stay in one place and hope for the best. Survival required movement, adaptability, and a willingness to migrate toward better conditions. Populations spread across vast frozen landscapes, following herds of migrating animals and searching for regions with slightly milder climates, or crucially, reliable sources of fresh water. This constant migration likely played a massive role in spreading humans across the entire globe, eventually crossing land bridges, like the one connecting Siberia to North America, that were only exposed because so much of the planet's water was locked away in massive glaciers. In a strange twist of fate, the very ice that threatened human survival also opened entirely new continents for humanity to explore, and eventually call home. Cooperation, humanity's greatest Ice Age survival tool, perhaps the single greatest advantage humans had during the Ice Age, was not physical strength or thick fur, but something entirely different: cooperation. Surviving brutal winters required tightly knit communities, working together to hunt, share food, maintain fires, and care for the young, the sick, and the elderly. Archaeological evidence suggests Ice Age human groups shared food generously, cared for injured or disabled members long-term, and worked collectively to solve enormous survival challenges. This deep social cooperation, arguably more than any physical adaptation, may be the single greatest reason our species survived, while other, physically stronger species ultimately did not, emerging from the ice, a stronger, smarter species. Eventually, roughly 11,700 years ago, the brutal Ice Age began to fade, giving way to a warmer, more stable climate, but humanity emerged from this ordeal fundamentally transformed. We had developed sophisticated clothing, mastered fire, engineered shelters from raw materials, refined hunting strategies, and most importantly, strengthened bonds of cooperation and community. These hard-won survival skills laid the essential groundwork for what would come next: agriculture, permanent settlements, and eventually, the very first civilizations. In many ways, the Ice Age was not just something humanity endured. It was a brutal, unforgiving forge that shaped us into the resilient, adaptable species we remain to this very day. So how did ancient humans survive the Ice Age? Through incredible ingenuity, sewing needles that became the foundation of clothing, fire that became our greatest ally against the cold, bone structures that became shelter, and above all, a deep, unbreakable spirit of cooperation that carried entire communities through humanity's harshest winter. Every single person alive today descends directly from those who endured this brutal, frozen chapter of history and came out the other side. The next time you feel a cold winter breeze, remember, your ancestors faced far worse, and they did not just survive, they conquered it, together. If this story fascinated you, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because next time, we are uncovering another incredible secret from humanity's ancient past. Until then, stay curious, stay wild, and I will see you in the next video.